Okay, we are now recording. Welcome back, CIS 105. Today we are on module 14, keeping up with changing technology. And we'll have a little bit of wrap up as well, because this is the last day of class. We still have assignments to turn in, all of that good stuff. But in terms of meeting up as a class and doing me talking at you for a lecture, today is the last one. So we talked a little bit way back when we were still able to be on campus about technology, what you're using in your life, what you're using for work, all of those sorts of things, right? We need to really keep in mind that that is all moving really fast. Think about your mobile phone, your smartphone. What does that look like now? What did those look like 10 years ago? And if you're maybe even a little bit older like me, you remember a time back about 15 years ago where smartphones didn't exist. You had to carry around a phone and a camera and a GPS and a PDA. Now all of those are in one device in the course of 10 years. That's an extreme example of fast-moving technology. Same thing goes with databases and data warehousing. That kind of scary extra credit discussion that we had around big data, none of that was possible 5 years ago. That technology just didn't exist. And why? Cloud computing, right? AWS, Azure, all of those things really only took off in the last 5 years or so. Maybe they've been around closer to 10 years, but they've really only been really moving, right, in 5 years. And even within all of those, we're talking major trends there. But inside of all of that, there is stuff moving fast, 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 fast all the time. That's just some examples. Everybody can think of more. I'm not going to put anybody on the spot, but just look around your life. Think about the technology you have and that same device. Did you even have something that did the same 5 years ago? Or was it much more expensive or nowhere near as good? Even think about your flat screen TVs, right? Now they are super thin and you can get them pretty cheap. I remember buying a 32-inch TV for myself, and I had to save up forever because it costs $1,000 at that time for a 32-inch TV. And now, how much TV can you get for $1,000? In addition to moving fast, technology is everywhere. So I have a couple of blanks here. These are, there's no credit, there's no right, there's no wrong. I just want to throw me some numbers in the chat box. So at this point in time, your average car, your average truck, if you're buying a new vehicle, how many computers do you think are inside of there? Just throw a number in the chat box, please. Right, we're getting some pretty big numbers, and all of you are right. So of course, it's going to depend on who exactly and what options you have. But on average, there's going to be somewhere between 25 and 50 computers inside of a car. So maybe we have somebody in the class who says, hey, I'm an auto mechanic. I turn wrenches. I don't need to know about computers. Well, technology is everywhere now. You still have to know how to turn wrenches, but after you're done turning the wrenches, you're going to have to reset that oil light, and that has to be done on a computer now. So another one, I'm looking for a dollar amount. In 2015, How much money do we think Walmart spent on information technology? So thinking about all the computers they have for their self-checkout, the warehouse, their trucks, right? Just the computers to support all of that. How much do we think Walmart spent in 1 year? Yeah, I'm seeing 50 million, 100 million, 1 billion. All of you are too low. In 1 year, Walmart spent $10 billion on IT in 2015. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of technology. That's what enables them to pass on those low prices to you. And then a big thing now for all of us is telework considerations. A lot of us are now able to work from home, but do you have the right setup? That ties back to your ergonomics. So I have this nice comfortable chair, I have a standing desk, and then I have, luckily, my employer provided me with a laptop, not a desktop computer. So when the decision came to work from home, all I had to do was take my laptop off my desk and bring it with me. Same thing for the college. The college actually didn't provide me with a computer. I have my own laptop. I had to get my own software. I had to get it set up, right? So the technology skills that I have, these PowerPoints, nobody made these PowerPoints for me. I had to make these to get this class to keep moving smoothly. So even in, right, this class doesn't have to be taught on computers. I could have come in and drawn everything up on the whiteboard and just talked at you. I decided to say, you know what? This is a class about Microsoft Office. Let's do as much of this in Microsoft Office as we can. I want to show you that what you're learning has an impact that you can take with you. Talking about how everything changes so quickly. There is a methodology behind that. There's a science behind that. We call that the technology life cycle. And there's 4 stages to it. So it starts with research and development. So some new product is made. Once it's been developed, then we start the ascent. That's where it starts taking off. It's getting more and more popular. It's starting to become something that is commonplace, either in the workplace or in a personal realm. Maturity is where it kind of levels off, right? That's where everybody's using it. It's the thing, you need to know it, and then it starts to fall off, the decline. So that's the life cycle, right? So start with the research and development, climb up to the top of the mountain, reach maturity where it's something very common, and then the decline comes. And why does that decline come? Because the next big thing is starting to take over. Generally, this whole cycle is going to be somewhere between a year and a half and 5 years. Best, probably most familiar example is the smartphone, right? So every year there's a new one, but generally you can hang on to one and use it for 2 to 3 years before you really start to feel, oh man, this thing is outdated. So everything you learned means nothing. Feels good, right? Okay, let me backtrack that a little bit. The basic skills, the concepts, and how to learn, that means a lot. Keep that with you. That is all important. The details that we learned in this class, right, of, okay, in Microsoft Access, I need to go click on this menu, do that button, that's going to change. You're going to need to learn new skills, new software. But the core skill of, okay, when I get this new piece of software, I need to be able to navigate around and figure out what I need to do. When I'm in a college class, I need to be able to get through it. That is what sticks with you. The particulars you have to always be working on. Example here, I graduated with my bachelor's degree in 2013, information technology. Every single tool, every single, go here, click this, that's out the window. 7 years later now, that is completely obsolete. But the core concepts and the process of how to learn, that still helps me even today. And that helps me a lot. That how to learn piece helps me. I'm in a deeply technical field, so I need to have certifications where I go and take a test and it says, yes, Chris knows how to use this thing. That's not a one-time deal. Even that has caught on now, where it used to be you go out, you get certified, and that's it. You have that for your career. That's a piece of paper you can take with you. It never goes away. The technology companies and the industry knows that we have that technology life cycle, right? Somewhere between 1.5 and 5 years from now, what you learned isn't going to be valid anymore. So all of these certifications I have, I actually need to go and redo them every 1.5 to 2 years. Now that can be either having to take the exam all over again, or just having to do some continuing learning classes. So again, this is going to depend on exactly how technical you are, what your career path is, or how deep you have to go into this. But really, for whatever you're doing, there's going to be some technology component. So being tech savvy is going to give you a huge advantage in the job market. If you're able to go in and thinking about our Access, our Excel, PowerPoint, Word, those are really useful in a business context. We had some conversations around this where if you are maybe in a medical office, you have paper forms right now that every time somebody comes in, and we know this from being the patient, you have to come in, you have to fill out 15 pages of paperwork, you give that back to somebody at the desk, and the person at the desk takes that paperwork, tries to read your handwriting, and types it into a computer. Maybe you can go to your boss and say, hey, I learned all this really cool stuff in Excel and Access. Here's how we can make that process better. That's going to make you so valuable to yourself, to your company. We can all see how that goes. So we need to work on going forward, leveling up your skills. Number one thing, I hated this term when I was in college, but now I see it, is learn how to learn. Of, okay, I need to do this thing. It's huge goal. How do I break down the pieces so I can get where I want to go? Keep in mind that technology is always improving, and so you need to do the same. And then, of course, the level of how in-depth you need to go is going to depend on your career goals. The way I look at technology at any of this is there is some business need, there is a goal that needs to be reached. What is the right tool that can get me there? So all of these different technologies that I work with, cloud, databases, software development, I look at that as my toolbox to say, okay, here's what I can do to solve this problem. Okay, so now we need to wrap it up. There are a few things in Canvas. Learned assignment. That one to help you think back and reflect on what you learned in this class, and that will help you prepare for your final e-portfolio. So go all the way back and think about, we did that e-portfolio at the beginning of class. Go and download that back from Canvas. You can go to the submission that you did and actually download that file again. Update your reflections. Reflect on what's happened in class since you made that e-portfolio. What skills did you learn? What was your favorite assignment? What didn't you like? Take the feedback that I gave you in terms of formatting or meeting any of those requirements for embedding an image or a video, all of that, fix that. And then we have this added wrinkle of a virtual presentation. That is somehow doing a narration or a voiceover. Since we can't meet up in class, instead, I want you to record yourself giving that presentation, and the final submission should be your updated e-portfolio with your voice presenting it to me. Go back to module 3, and it's all there in terms of how to do it. So module 3 will give you a refresher on how you record your voice over top of PowerPoint. If you don't have a microphone, if it's technologically impossible for you to do it, talk to me. We'll get something figured out. And then the last thing is an exit survey. Very important to me. I really need that feedback to help make this class better for the next semester. So this is not my first time teaching this class. I took the feedback from last semester and changed things up to make this class better for you. So I need you to help me do that again. Tell me what's working, tell me what's not working. I know we had this big switch to online that complicated things. So if you have comments about that too, awesome. Just it's open-ended, whatever's on your mind. Key thing to keep in mind, it is anonymous. So unless in your comments you say, this is Lanice and I don't like anything you did, I'm not gonna know who's leaving me those comments. And the other thing is, I cannot see any of the submissions until your final grade is posted. So even if I look at it and I figure out based on what you're telling me who it is, it's not going to have any impact on your grade in this class. So that survey, really, I want your open, honest feedback. Let me know what worked, what you would have liked to see different, so that I can make it better the next time around. Please do stay in touch with me. If you don't have a LinkedIn, get one and add me to it. Basically, what LinkedIn is a Facebook for business, Facebook for your career. A good way to keep track of your professional network. So you see here where mine says I have 353 connections. Those are not all close personal friends of mine. Those are business connections from my career. Somebody that I've worked with, that I want to keep in touch with in case they know of a job down the line that's going to help me. Networking is a huge, huge, huge thing career-wise. And I can actually tell you that from experience, where I took the same path as a lot of you, where out of high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do. So I went to a community college first, got my 2-year degree, used that time to kind of figure out what I wanted to do. And then I transferred over to VCU, which is same thing as ASU or U of A, just back in Virginia. Graduated out of there. It actually took me 5 years to get my bachelor's. So if you're slowing down, don't worry about it. You'll be okay. And when I graduated, I had a really, really hard time finding a job. It was 2013, and the economy was still trying to recover from all of that fun stuff in 2008, 2009. I actually had somebody who I hadn't talked to in 3 years reach out to me from one of my community college classes. And he was working in a kind of technology job and had his company was hiring somebody. And he remembered that we took a programming class together and I had helped him out in that programming class. And I had stayed connected with him. Didn't talk to him all the time, but I had him on LinkedIn. So he was able to pull me up and say, oh yeah, that guy. That's how I got my first job. I didn't apply for that job. There was no job listing. That was somebody who I had helped 3 years ago, reached back out to me and said, hey, why don't you come on down for an interview? I think we can make something work. So really get yourself a LinkedIn, keep your connections, and then it really even is a good job board. So, and add me on there. I want to help you out in life as much as I can. So if you are getting to the point where you need a recommendation letter or anything like that, come back to me, remind me you were in my class, or if I have you on LinkedIn, I'm going to remember you from being in my class. So this is not the last time I want to talk to any of you. So please, please, please do stay in touch with me. You have my email, you have my phone number. Let's keep this going any way I can help you succeed. Speaking of succeed, you have all done it. That is the end of CIS 105. I say the end, but remember, we still have our assignments to turn in. So class, there's no more class meetings, but class is extended for about 3 more weeks here. So the 22nd is when I want your assignments to all be turned in. We have on Canvas the handy dandy schedule right here on the homepage. So this shows when stuff needs to be turned in to keep yourself on a schedule to get everything done by the end of class. Keep an eye on that schedule, stick to that schedule, get stuff in. Let's get there. Let's get everybody through this class. Another thing, a few of you have done it. We have this survey right here about grading. The default is that you are going to get a pass or, sorry, a credit or no credit grade. If you earned an A, a B, or a C, and you want that grade, you have to do this survey and let me know. If for financial aid reasons or what have you, it's better for you to get a D or an F than a no credit, fill out that survey and I'll get it to you. So I want to help you, but we need to have things done the right way. As you're working through, really important, May 8th is the day you need to make your decision. So if you're really far behind and you think you can catch up, talk to me. We'll get you on a schedule, catch up. But keep in mind, there is nothing wrong with saying, you know what, this move to online, coronavirus, all of this, it just didn't work out. That's okay. We can withdraw you. You'll get the W grade on your transcript. Most likely, we'll have to talk one-on-one about that. And as long as that happens, then you can apply for a refund on your account for future classes. So obviously, if you withdraw, you're going to have to take CIS 105 again, but you can have a credit go on your account so that way you don't have to pay for it again. The money that you paid this time, you can use next time. So if you're behind, I want you to get through this. I want everybody to pass this class. I'm going to do everything I can for you, but there is also no shame in saying, I'm just not going to make it. So May 8th is the day that that decision has to be made. That That doesn't apply to everybody. If that applies to you, I do want to hear from you so I can help you out. Again, thank you so much. I really enjoyed everybody being in this class, getting to know you, and I'm sorry our FaceTime got cut short, but definitely do keep in touch. I'm going to end recording, but I'm going to keep the class session open for anyone who's here with me live.